Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. I'm KP, Nick's here and There's with me as usual, because today we are going through our Elimination Chamber reactions from last night's event from Toronto, Canada, Saturday the 1st of March. It was a hell of a show, and we got a lot to break down and discuss. So how about we kick things off here by going into our very first bit of action, which was the Women's Elimination Chamber contest. We would see 6 women looking to book their spot at WrestleMania with an opportunity to go up against either Io Sky or Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. We would see the likes of Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Roxanne Perez, and Bayley all involved in this opening contest. So this matchup was pretty damn great in terms of a starting, bit of action here for the night. I think I've really set the pace. We had Jade Cargill, who made a grand return to get things off here in what I would say is a really well done way here to get things started. So the matchup would start to begin. I don't even think the bell had rung at this point, but Liv Morgan and Naomi were dubbed to kick off the match, and I guess the show, really, if you want to say it that way. But it would be those two in the ring, and then just before they were going to kick things off, we would then hear Jade Cargill's music. She would storm down to the ring, no pun intended, and she would make a beeline for what looked like to be Liv Morgan. I think a lot of people in the build-up to this one maybe thought it could have been Liv Morgan. I, on the other hand, was thinking Naomi from the very beginning, and it turns out I was right, and it was Naomi that Jade Cargill was targeting. She would sort of like fake to go after Liv Morgan. She would attack Naomi, and she would absolutely destroy Naomi in that chamber to kick things off. It was a hellacious start to the show. Incredible scenes here. A returning Jade Cargill just dispatching of Naomi. Yeah, Bianca Belair in the pod, screaming, completely confused as to what's going on, breaking down. Just a complete, just absolute shock for her. And her former tag team partner, tag team champion, alongside her, basically taking out her current tag team champion, her current tag team partner, ex-tag team champion, I suppose, with Bianca Belair. But it was a brutal start to the show because Jade would throw Naomi into the metal and just toss her all around the ring, eventually leading towards the door, where she would use the door to actually slam Naomi against it. Just rendering her unable to compete in the rest of the contest and basically saying, you know what, nope, you're not taking any more part in this matchup. You're not even going to get started. So, yeah, Naomi stretched her out of the arena. Jade Cargill would obviously make her way backstage and just leaving the matchup to take place between the 5 women remaining. And that's exactly what would happen. So we'd have 5 women all looking to then, I guess you could say from there, progress to WrestleMania. And we would have Bayley be the first to be eliminated. But Bianca Belair would start off, I guess you could say, really, the first out of the pod. She would go straight after Liv Morgan, obviously being the other legal person in the matchup at the time. And then going from there on, it would be, the gradual eliminations. But everybody really sort of like had their own involvements here. No one really shied away. Everyone got involved in all the action. And it was a pretty good matchup, as far as I'm concerned, between the 5 women who really got to sort of like showcase their involvement in the Elimination Chamber. Really good start to the match. Obviously, I've mentioned there with Jade Cargill and Naomi. Finally getting an answer to that whole story and situation. But the matchup was great. We had a lot of nice spots throughout the contest. I thought that Bianca really showed some quality moments in there with her hair whip, especially. That was quite a vicious moment on Liv Morgan on the top of the pod. We had Liv Morgan just put an absolute MVP performance in. She was brilliant throughout the entire contest and shows, continues to show why she's always in these types of matchups, because the stuff that she can do, just how much she can offer for these particular contests is just fantastic, for her from a personal standpoint. But yeah, Roxanne Perez continuing to show, exactly what she's about since her rise to the main roster. The momentum with her is absolutely astronomical right now. And just thought everybody really had a great showing, and it's a quality first matchup here for the Elimination Chamber. Regarding the winner, Bianca Belair, happy for her. A matchup against Rhea Ripley, possibly as things stand right now, that would be, incredible. Bianca against Rhea Ripley. Obviously, it could be Io Sky, which is also something that I think we can all look forward to. I would love to see maybe perhaps a triple threat between the 3 women, but obviously we don't know about that. That's obviously a conversation for going down into the WrestleMania booking. But for now, yeah, I think Bianca as the winner. I'm interested to see how they're going to go about this from the Jay Cargill situation as to what exactly happens from here on out. Regarding the end of that sort of situation. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't want Bianca just to completely be forgotten about in that build to WrestleMania. So hopefully she's involved to begin with, and we can go from there on afterwards. Booking herself into a Rhea Ripley, Io Sky situation. But yeah, Nick, what did you think about the Women's Chamber? How did you find it? I really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was a quality show. Start of the show. And just had a great time watching it. But what about you, man? What did you think?
Yeah, I really don't have any complaints outside of one issue with Bianca. I felt like Bianca, and I will repeat myself later with the men's side, and I'm sure you know where that's going. But I feel like Bianca maybe undersold a little too much there at the end. Felt like she was almost no selling some of the moves she was getting hit with there at the end. But really, that's my only complaint. Maybe a lack of spots compared to prior years. I always felt like there were two or three spots that really took your breath away. With this one, obviously the hair whip, which doesn't get utilized near enough in my opinion. But that hair whip on Liv was certainly a pretty cool spot. And I completely agree with you. I had the same exact thoughts on Liv. I felt like Liv is she is the champion of being runner up or so close but yet so far. Um, yeah, she's growing tremendously. We've seen her do grow, leaps and bounds. She's earning our respect each and every performance, and this one was no exception. Definitely the MVP, and my goodness, she earned her paycheck with this one. But yeah, I didn't dislike the match. I feel like there had been better, but there was really nothing that I didn't like overall. And when you kick off with Jade's return finally, felt like we were waiting forever for that, and it was essentially just giving her enough time. And her first debut was incredible, and I thought it was done perfectly. And I thought this one was just as good, if not, even better. Certainly have questions if she is the face there. Um, having if Naomi did attack her, it certainly goes against face nature a little bit. You understand that she would be heated in that moment, but we certainly have lots of answers or questions we would like answers to. So yeah, certainly I'm glad we finally got that payoff, and the fact that that was just one of three tonight, I think, just a testament to how big this event was. But yeah, at the end of the day, no real complaints from me, just little nitpicks. Um, yeah, everyone was booked strong. It feels like we're probably going down the Alexa Live route probably at this point. Um, Alexa really showing her darker persona during this one, some blank stares and such that we've seen from her in the past. So it really feels like they're doubling down on that. So it'll be interested to see where that goes. And then obviously your Bailey Roxanne story doesn't appear to quite be over yet. So it feels like everyone not only had a strong showing here, as you mentioned, but also everyone's story progressed a little bit and has us further looking towards the next show that they're involved in. But yeah, I feel like the reoccurring theme after this show was before we kind of felt like, oh, we don't really have a lot going on for Mania, lots of questions, and it feels like every single match in this on this PLE has us looking forward to the future. And I feel like I can safely say after this PLE, we're definitely seeing a clearer picture. But yeah, as far as rating goes, yeah, I'd probably give this one 8.5 out of 10. Again, nothing wrong with it. I felt like it could have been done a little more maybe. But again, nitpicking, and it was a great match.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with everything that you're saying there. I think regarding the chamber match, it was absolutely hellacious. I think maybe you made a good point about Bianca Blair actually with the perhaps like underselling, no selling, whatever you want to call it, whatever describe it as. But yeah, I think regardless of the fact of that, I think it really was a tremendous contest between the five women who eventually got to take place in the matchup after obviously the Jay Cargill situation. Love the way that was done, by the way, at the start rather than at the end of the matchup. I thought it was a really nice way of doing it, a little bit different to how we would normally maybe see things in the past, where people would come in, maybe when someone's been eliminated, and then they would get involved then. Cheeky little interference towards the end of the matchup. But no, this one was nice. It was nice and different. It was unique, which I found to be really, really cool. And great start to the show. I gave this one an 8.5 out of 10. No, I didn't. I gave this one a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a tremendous matchup. And what a way to kick off the show. It was fantastic. So how about now we move on, guys, into our next little bit of action. And this would see the women's tag team contest between Trish Stratus, the hometown girl, teamed up with Tiffany Stratton, the women's champion. They would be taking on the team of Candice, LeRae, and Nia Jax, former women's champion herself. So this would be, I suppose, going into this one, my least anticipated matchup of the night. No disrespect for the, to the 4 women involved in this one, but I just think, comparatively speaking towards the rest of the matches, this was, the probably the weaker of the 4. But yeah, like I say, no disrespect whatsoever there. But regarding the contest itself, it was fine. It was good. It did everything it needed to. Trish Stratus had a decent showing. For someone of her age, I'm not entirely sure how old she is off the top of my head. But I'm sure maybe Nick, you can find that out in a moment. But I thought she looked pretty good, to be fair. Crazy for someone of seeing her growing up and stuff, and she's still decent going at it now. It's quite crazy. But she did a great show. She had a good performance for herself, and didn't really seem to be missing any beats, sort of thing. Tiffany Stratton, this is obviously ultimately very important for her. Building herself into a WrestleMania build against Charlotte Flair. So I think getting the win here, Trish and Tiffany, was the absolute right call, because now we can obviously look forward to Charlotte and Tiff, and we can put the whole Nia Jax, Candice LeRae business behind Tiffany, which is exactly what I think is needed here. So for her to get the win over Nia Jax by pinning her specifically, that felt like a good closing of the chapter there in her sort of like current story that she's got going on at the moment, Tiffany Stratton. But yeah, Nia and Candice had a little bit of an extra show on the PLE here. They'll go obviously into whatever the hell they're going to be doing towards WrestleMania now, which obviously we'll have to wait and see regarding that. But yeah, nice little close to the book here. This particular this particular part of the story for Tiffany Stratton, and now she looks ahead to Charlotte Flair. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this one compared to all the other matches. Obviously, there's a lot that happened there. But yeah, I think this is probably enough I want to say regarding this one. But yeah, good win for Tiffany and Trish. It did what it needed to do. It was fine. Yeah, don't really have too much to say. What about you, Nick? Have you got anything more to add to this one, or are you basically thinking the same things as me?
I'm not sure about adding anything else. Stratus is 49, which is ungodly to think that she's able to do it still. Yeah, I would love to be half as athletic as her at 10 years older than 49. So let's, before on the predictions, I basically said this match didn't feel like it belongs here, and I still feel like I'm gonna follow that same notion. It just felt like a kind of a weekly show almost. Again, no disrespect to everyone in the ring, but I think you perfectly said it. I think this finally closes the book on Jackson Stratton. I think that story is now done, hopefully. And in the predictions, I simply said the only thing this match should have accomplished is elevating Tiffany, because they've really she's taken the back seat ever since Charlotte has challenged her. So not only did she do that, not only did she get in a majority of the work here, she also pinned the one person that I said, if you really wanted to build her back up, have her pin Nia Jax, and she did exactly that. And I think the only thing really else you realistically could have done was had Charlotte involved at some point. But I'm not gonna, dock points or anything. It just felt like, this was kind of a weekly thrown together tag match because of the location. So, it again had nothing towards the people involved here, just compared to everything else on the Mania size PLE. It just didn't fit in. So I give it a 6 out of 10. Maybe a 6.5. We'll call it 6.5 because they did a good job of elevating Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, I think we've basically hit the nail on the head there, haven't we? To be honest, it's one of those matches that, you look at the other matches and you just think, wow, like, you know, there's big things to take away from all of them. And then this one maybe is a little bit of a step down regarding, you know, the going forward part of things. But obviously, you know, it does build towards Charlotte and Tiff, which is what it needed to do. I gave this one a 6.5 out of 10. I thought it was good enough and it was fine. But yeah, we do think on the same wavelength there. So pretty much same wavelength for that one regarding the rating for this one, which is obviously what we want to be doing here. So how about we move on now then, guys, into our next little bit of action. And this one would be a very personal affair between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So an unsanctioned match, obviously that can result in anything going. No rules, no responsibility from WWE. These guys can do whatever the hell they want to each other, and that's absolutely fine. And that's exactly what these two men did. It was crazy. It was hellacious. It was brutal. It was savage from start to finish, and it was very personal. Very vindictive, you know, performances from both men here. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens both delivering some absolutely incredible performances. And I don't think I'm too out of line here to say that this could be one of the matches of the year. Obviously, we have to wait to see what the coming months bring. We're only in, you know, literally the 2nd of March now as of recording. So, you know, very bold statement right now. But in terms of what we've seen so far this year, there's no doubt this one could be match of the year for sure. It was absolutely incredible. It was brutal, and it was a great match to watch. It was very, very fun. But yeah, these two literally went through hell on earth to try and get the victory over each other. It was crazy. We had some brawls towards the outside area of the ring throughout the crowd. There was like an area sort of like with some tables and trash cans, general rubbish, whatever. We would go back to the ring side. There'd be tables stacked on top of each other. Sami Zayn would eventually go through them. Back into the ring, we'd have all sorts of weapons being used. We've had hockey sticks, steel chairs. Obviously, I've mentioned tables already. We'd even have a steel chair that was wrapped in barbed wire, which was used for some quite nice spots with Sami Zayn getting advantage of those. And yeah, eventually it would lead into Kevin Owens basically just taking the storm of the tide, and he would hit a couple of apron power bombs on Sami Zayn. So showing some throwbacks to their history. Sami being hit by apron power bombs by Kevin Owens in the NXT days, and taking him out then, taking a part of his career away from him. And yeah, nice little throwback there to what happened years gone by. But I think whenever these two get into the ring, it's incredible. And this was no different. This was, you know, this felt more, I want to say, than those previous times, and it just allowed a different type of matchup. It wasn't sort of like a storytelling type thing in terms of you know, like an incredible story, but it was a brutal story that needed to be told, just to sort of like get the next chapter between these two big friend turned rivals and enemies and whatnot you want to say. But no, what an absolutely incredible match this was. It was insane. It was amazing. It was brutal. All the positive things you can say. Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Nick, what about you? What do you think about this one? Do you think it was really as big as I said it was going to be? Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Randy Orton impact afterwards, with you know, him coming back and taking out Kevin Owens. We obviously seen a lot of history between those two towards the end of last year, after the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens saga, I guess you can say. You know, those two allies, Kevin Owens turning on Randy and hitting the package power driver, taking him out for a number of months. This is his first time he's been back. The music would hit. It would be a glorious moment. And yeah, we'd have Randy Orton taking out Kevin Owens, looking for that punt kick we haven't seen in a long time. Didn't quite get it done in the end because Kevin Owens got out of the way. But it was a crazy end to the matchup after a hellacious contest as well. So nice to see Randy back. Finally get an answer to that. You know, to see him square up to Kevin Owens once again, which I feel like is something we've been missing, really. You know, we wanted to know what's going to be happening next between those two. So that was a really cool moment as well, to hear that music go around the arena and the pop that he got as well. But yeah, what do you think regarding everything like that, Nick, in terms of you know, the Randy Orton return, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens being an absolutely incredible matchup, and just the next chapter of their career? What do you think?
Yeah, you know, with these two, the expectations were always going to be high, and of course they delivered. You know, I think in terms of what you've described it as, honestly, I'm not sure I can add much else to it. I agree. I think Randy Orton being involved during the match would have been better served, because it's rare that you see the heel, you know, kind of put the face on the shelf for a few weeks or however long it was, and then come back and the face to lose on the the quote unquote payoff match. But that's what happened, and so I think Randy Orton being involved during the match could have helped kind of get Sami the win and then continue on, if they want to separate paths and then go the KO Randy Orton match. I think I agree that would have made more sense. But with Sami losing here, it felt like he kind of got bucked some momentum. Now, granted, no one comes out of this looking bad, obviously. But just in terms of how things are usually done, it just kind of goes against the grain a little bit, is my only point. But yeah, these two have incredible chemistry. Off the top of my head, I don't think there are two that can put on a show as often and as consistently as these two do. And so, as I mentioned on the predictions, I could watch these two, have a different match each week, and it would never get old, because they've been doing it for so long, and I think that much is obvious. But yeah, I do not think it is an insane statement to say this could be a match of the year, and to say that coming away from this particular PLE, which just had was absolutely stacked in terms of storytelling, is a testament in itself. So yeah, maybe don't completely agree with how they did it, but in terms of what we got in the match itself, I don't think you can walk away with anything less than a 9 or 10 on this one, right? Yeah, personally, I'd give it a 9.5 simply because of the direction in which it was booked. But in terms of the match itself, yeah, not much else I could complain about.
Well, I'm glad you agree with me, that's for sure, in terms of saying it could be like one of the matches of the year, because it really was that good. I do agree. I give this one a 9.5 out of 10. I think that it could have just been a little bit better because of would have liked to have seen Randy Orton return during the matchup, rather than at the end. Afterwards, I think costing Kevin Owens the win would have been a little bit better. Maybe just like sticking it to him on his return. I think that would have been a nice return for him, but ultimately it still worked out well. But yeah, I think just a little bit of a nitpick. 9.5 out of 10 is still very, very good. But we just would have changed it a little bit differently, in my opinion, regarding that one. But nope, still very, very good, very impressive, and an amazing matchup. So how about now then, guys, we move on to what followed next, and that would be the men's Elimination Chamber contest. And we would see 6 men all looking to book their spot at WrestleMania. And this would be the matchup that would see the winner going on to take on Cody Rhodes in what possibly the main event. Who knows? But arguably it would be for the WWE Undisputed Championship. So we would see the likes of Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. We'd see Logan Paul, CM Punk, John Cena, and Seth freaking Rollins all looking to book their spot at WrestleMania. This match had a lot going on in terms of everybody involved here. I think going into this one, CM Punk was probably the one I had the most sort of impressions to who was going to be winning this contest. But ultimately, it would be John Cena in the end, and it would be an incredible contest in terms of the way it worked out in the end. We come down to 3 men eventually, which would be Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and John Cena. And Seth Rollins would be taken out of the affair by getting hit by a GTS from CM Punk, and then falling towards John Cena, him hitting an attitude adjustment on Seth, and then CM Punk crawling over for the cover and eliminating Rollins from the chamber. We'd then be down to 2. So CM Punk, John Cena, they would have a little bit of a back and forth, not for too long actually, but it would result in it would result in CM Punk falling towards the ropes, towards the near side of the chamber door. Seth hadn't left the chamber by this point; he was still there. So as CM Punk was just like fall towards the ropes, Seth would hit a stomp on Punk and basically just render him completely out of it. So obviously that animosity between the two of them hasn't really gone; it's still there, clear as day. And yes, Seth clearly not happy about being eliminated from the chamber, and blame CM Punk for that. Obviously, that heated display between the two of them continues to grow and grow and grow. So yeah, that stomp laid him out. John Cena would then have a moment, take advantage. He would quickly tie up CM Punk and lock in the STF, and that would eventually fade CM Punk out. and he would have to succumb to the STF, meaning that John Cena would win the Elimination Chamber and book his spot at WrestleMania to go one-on-one with Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. That should be a quality matchup. Hopefully that was going to be a belter, a banger, as Sheamus would say. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It should be really, really good. The match itself, though, was kind of decent. I feel like there were some big parts that I wasn't particularly too happy about. Drew McIntyre being eliminated early on via a roll-up, from Damian Priest. I just feel like the disrespect towards Drew McIntyre recently has been appalling. After the year that he put in last year, working hard with CM Punk and carrying the majority of that rivalry between the two of them, I feel like he hasn't really had the payoff that he deserves from that. And I feel like he just continues to be showing disrespect in terms of booking and storytelling for himself. I hope something as big as on the horizon, but honestly, after this amount of time, hoping something bigger. I'm not holding my breath. I don't think it's probably going to happen at this point, which is a damn shame. I feel like they're dropping the ball with Drew, and he does deserve better at this point. I really, really think so. But then on the back of that one as well, looking at the other guys in the matchup, Damian Priest. If he is going to be going to a matchup now at WrestleMania with Drew McIntyre, I don't really care about that. That to me has zero interest whatsoever. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, I suppose, but I certainly won't be bothered or caring about that matchup in the slightest. But yeah, his performance in the chamber wasn't really anything special. He was here in bits in there, whatever, but eventually eliminated by Logan Paul by hitting a frog splash off the top of a pod, which is a pretty cool moment, to be fair. Drew had laid him out previously with a Claymore, and then that frog splash a little bit later on was a nice spot from Logan. Obviously, he loves the viral moments, and he was involved with that. Logan would be eliminated via a GTS from CM Punk a bit afterwards, and then obviously that would result to the 3 I mentioned before. But yeah, decent match. I think the women's chamber was a lot better. I think I will say that quite comfortably and confidently here. But no, in terms of the matchup, it was good. It's just it wasn't quite as good as the women's one. But yeah, no real disrespect there. But just being honest and saying the women's one did have a much better showing, to be honest. But Nick, what about you, buddy? What did you think about this one in terms of the men's elimination chamber? Who do you think stood out or whatever? And how do you think it went down?
Yeah, so earlier on the women's, you recall I mentioned something about underselling. I feel like the victim this time, or should I say the offender, would be CM Punk. CM Punk took, I want to say, 7 finishing moves. I could be off, but I believe that is about what he took towards the end. And he just kept kicking out and kicking out. And similar to your thought, I believe we both thought Punk was winning this. And every single time he took another finisher, it felt like, oh, I guess I was wrong. And he continued to kick out. So then we see Rollins interfere to allow Cena to get the win. I agree that this match wasn't as good as the women's one. And I think a big reason to that is the order and how they both appeared and they were eliminated. I think in the order in which they appeared, I think was always kind of going to be the way. You have John Cena and you have CM Punk, who I think, obviously needs to be the last two simply because of where they are in their career and, just their in-ring status at this point in their career. So I think that makes sense in terms of why it was that way. I think the issue is the full timers, the in ring everyday guys were eliminated at that point. So then you're relying on those part timers. Again, no disrespect to them, but that's how it works. The older you get, the less you are able to do in the ring. So I think the match kind of suffered a bit with the pace because of that. Obviously, Seth being in there for the most part definitely helped keep it together. But then, as you mentioned, Drew getting eliminated with the roll up and Damian Priest not long after. Say what you want about Damian Priest, but he's able to do that better than they are at this point. And just to seem like to set up them, to set up the Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, had the exact same feelings that you do towards that. It feels disrespectful to Drew at this point. But who knows? Maybe they'll make something of it and make us interested in it. But as you mentioned, I have zero interest in that match, and no one comes out of that match looking good. So we shall see. And Logan, I mean, Logan had a good spot. But yeah, ever since that promo with CM Punk on Raw, I just feel like his stock is dropping. I didn't feel like he did much. Although I will say, and I kind of had this thought during the match, it felt like he was the one true heel in this match. Yes, Drew's a heel, but nobody hates him. Even as whiny as he is, everyone loves Drew for the most part, at least that I'm aware of. The crowd, feels like he's underutilized, and so I think that plays a part in him not being a true heel. So I think Logan was really the only true heel. So that was an interesting dynamic here, where the crowd was literally booing and saying obscene things to Logan when he wasn't even in the match yet. So I think that's just a testament to his heat that he's able to get. But I feel like as far as in ring, I feel like the more that I'm seeing of him, the less I'm kind of believing he has the it factor, more so just a flash in the pan. We shall see. I'm not really sure what direction he's going to be going in terms of going forward. But as you mentioned, Seth and Punk not being able to win, I think you have that potential. I think that's where a lot of people want to see at this point is Punk, Rollins, and probably Roman, and then whatever that looming favor is that Punk has. Does that play a part in the main event with Cena and Rhodes? We shall find out. But yeah, in terms of the match itself, obviously a lot took place after, and we'll get into that here in just a minute. But yeah, in terms of the match itself, I felt like it was a notch down from the women's, just didn't flow very well, and similar to the women's, didn't feel like it had as many spots as they normally do. That's kind of what you come to expect from these, and so because of that, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I mean, hey, look, we really are on the same wavelength today, aren't we? I mean, I give this one an 8 out of 10 as well. I think it was one of those matches that I think could have been a bit better, but it did what it needed to. And, we now have, Cena against Cody Rhodes. I'm quite looking forward to that. That should be pretty cool. To think that, he's in the last year now and he's going to be going into a WrestleMania main event, possibly. That's really cool to see. So, yeah. You made some good points about CM Punk, though, about the overselling / underselling, whatever. He took a lot of big moves. I was just watching it last night thinking, what, how is he still going here? Like, he's taking this, taking that, he's taking this. And, the whole God complex thing they got going on with CM Punk right now, I feel like is a bit, yeah, I don't know. I'm not particularly a fan of it. Let's put it that way. I feel like they should, dumb it down a little bit. He's not like superhuman. He can be pinned. That is allowed. And he doesn't have to go through, finish after finish after finish after finish after finisher in order to get that to happen. So yeah, maybe just dial it down a little bit. Maybe even send a little bit towards Drew McIntyre's way. I'd love that. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but that would be great for me. But yeah, no, I think they need to touch it down a little bit on CM Punk. Don't book him too strongly here. Because he has been better than what I thought he would be. Granted, I'll give him credit for that, but I just think he's being booked a bit too strongly. So how about now we go into what took place after this matchup immediately afterwards, and that would be a segment between a whole lot of individuals. But let me just paint the picture first. So Cena was celebrating in the middle of the ring. He would be met by all the pyro that's going on in the background, whatever. Big win as he goes to WrestleMania. And Cody Rhodes' music would hit. The American Nightmare, WWE Undisputed Champion, would make his way down to the ring in order to, make appearances and to greet John Cena. Obviously, we've got that looming segment coming up literally straight after this one with the Cody's answer to The Rock and will he sell his soul to him? We'll talk about that in a little bit in a second. But yeah, the two would have a little bit of a short interaction. I say short interaction. Literally was just a meeting in the middle of the ring. And then we'd eventually get to a point where Travis Scott would appear shortly after The Rock's music would hit. So recently, The Rock's been doing this sort of like intro with his theme, where it would go into like sort of we had it last week on SmackDown, the local music, and then this time we'd have Travis Scott having his sort of song be playing over just after the start of the Rock's theme. Eventually, that would transition into Rock's full theme, the final boss. And he would appear and make his way to the ring with Travis Scott by his side. Once they got to the ring, obviously before Men in the Ring now, so you got Cody, Cena, Travis, and Rock all involved. And this will be the moment where Cody would be asked if he was going to sell his soul to The Rock and become his champion. Cody would, after a little bit of playing around with The Rock, would eventually say, my soul belongs to these people and to this ring. So Rock, you can go F yourself. He dropped the F bomb. It was a big moment. The crowd popped. We've spoken a lot, and there's been a lot of questions regarding being on Netflix, PG era. Maybe we're getting away from that now. We got a bit more freedom to avoid sort of having to be so so much away from that kind of language or whatever. But no, this was great. For them to not even censor it at all and just Cody dropped the F bomb, which was a really big, massive moment. It was kind of great to see. But that wasn't the biggest talking point from this whole segment, because what followed next would be the main thing to talk about. So once the F bomb had been dropped, Cena would be pretty elated. Cody saying no, and he would basically start jumping around and then would embrace Cody Rhodes afterwards. Once the embrace would take place, The Rock would then do a signal towards Cena, as Cena looked pretty stern in the face at this point. And he would sort of like do two fingers across the throat to signify, let's end this. And that was a massive, massive moment, because Cena's face told the story involved here as well. It was clearly a moment that we're never going to forget, because following this, Cena and Cody would stop the embrace. Cena would hit a low blow on Cody Rhodes, laying him out in the middle of the ring. Cena turns heel. Absolutely incredible moment here, because Cena would then dish out a lot of punishment on Cody Rhodes afterwards, resulting in Cody, bleeding towards the end of the melee, whatever you want to call it, the assault, the attack. And Travis Scott would even get involved as well. There'd be a point where The Rock would have the belt, the personalized one, which would have Cody's soul written on it, as well as the date that Dusty Rhodes did pass away on. Quite personal, that belt, quite crazy, the message being sent on there. But he would use that belt to whip Cody, as Travis and Cena would hold him in place to be whipped with the belt. Pretty brutal moment, but Cena turning heel is insane. It's crazy to me. We waited a long, long time. It's been teased in the past in terms of could it be done? Would it be done? It's spoken about a lot, but never actually took place. And to have it happen now on his farewell tour, literally towards the end of his career, the last few months of it, it just shows the lengths that John Cena's prepared to go through in order to, provide entertainment, to provide huge moments, historical moments. And he's going to do it until the very, very end. It just shows what kind of guy John Cena really is and what he can really bring still, this late into his career. But yeah, this is one of the most historical moments in WWE history in terms of, myself. I think that's fair to say. Obviously, you can maybe just weigh in a little bit on that one in a minute, Nick, what you think. But in terms of the big moments, I think this is up there with them for sure, right? John Cena turning heel, that's something we never thought we'd really see, and for it to now happen so late is just remarkable and crazy. But what a heel turn it was! Incredibly done. The Rock, ultimately not really relying on Cody to sell his soul, because he had an ace in the hole. He had something up his sleeve, and that was John Cena. Cena maybe sold his soul to The Rock instead. And what a moment. The only slight criticism I have here is that Travis Scott being in the ring, I don't know. I don't really think that made any sense. Kind of like the class clown here involved in this one. I didn't really buy that. But I felt like he added really nothing to this. So yeah, I think if I was to change anything, remove Travis Scott from this whole situation. Why was he even there? And just leave the professionals to the situation, rather than looking like an idiot on the ropes and just. I don't know. I just didn't really vibe with that particular part. He was unnecessary in this particular moment, but not taking anything away from what happened, because it was absolutely quality. It was wonderful. It was insane. It was memorable. We will look back on this one for years and years and years and years to come. And what an incredible moment it was. But Nick, what did you think about everything that that transpired here in this main event? What did you think? It was crazy, right? And how big does this compare, to the bigger moments in WWE history, wrestling history, whatever you want to say? Does it really live up to those big moments? And where does it sort of fit in?
Yeah, I think in terms of how iconic, I feel like it's we could probably think on this for days and weeks and come up with a list. I feel like in terms of how iconic this was, you have obviously Hogan joining LWO, The Rock, Austin turning heel, siding with Vince, Bailey shedding her hugger gimmick. I think those are all I feel like these can all be kind of said in the same breath, same sentence, and nobody would bat an eye. For him to wait, I think, in 22 years is what it's been, um, since being a heel, and to do it on this heel reunion, or excuse me, this heel tour. Um, you know, to turn the tour heel at this point in his career, after saying this was going to be his farewell tour, was truly incredible. I think it's just a testament to his dedication to the business, and willing to, because let's face it, this should have been done 18 years ago. And so, I think this is John's kind of tip of the cap to us as the fans, because he knows we want this and we got it, and a truly iconic moment. Everything was done perfectly, in my opinion, because we had wondered beforehand. you know Cody says no to this, which we were, I think you were more sure than I was, and I was pretty sure, and I think the part of me that wasn't was just kind of, you know got booked myself into a corner in terms of, well, I kind of want to see it, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? And then, well, if he says no, then what was the point? Just to, for The Rock to say, "Hey, Mania is coming back to New Orleans, and I'm going to get myself some screen time." No. So they answered all those questions, and they did it emphatically. So, you know, I don't think anyone told you they saw this coming. They're lying. Um, this was great. Yeah, it put an exclamation point on both the show and the point of where we are in terms of leading up to Mania. I mentioned it earlier, but I feel like, before this PLE, it felt like we didn't have a ton of direction, and boy, has that changed after this show. It feels like a lot of things are definitely more clear now. Tenfold over what we had before, and yeah, I think the three of them, not including Travis Scott, because again, like you, I think watching him throughout this entire segment is entertaining in itself, but I feel like it does kind of distract a bit from, the very serious tone that the other three of these men had. Um, so yeah, but in the end, I think we're all praising this. I don't think you could, even if you wanted to, I don't think you could find negatives here. It'll be interesting to see if the main event ends up being just the two of them, with obviously being Rhodes and Cena, or if the Punk favor Roman, Rollins comes into play, or The Rock comes into play. It's certainly a nice change compared to last year, when we had the issues of fans not agreeing. I don't think we'll have that issue this year. Um, and I WWE has the hands full. And I know this will be an easy decision for you, KP, but which match is the main event now? For me personally, it feels like a no-brainer. Cody and Cena, but with how hard they've been pushing Jay, I think he certainly is going to give them a run for their money. I think in terms of star power, it feels like this is the obvious answer. But in terms of what they claim is merchandise mover, in that of Jey Uso, I think he certainly is going to do his best to state his case. And if Punk and all of them become a part of this too, I think even before that, it would be hard pressed to not put this as the actual night two main event. So curious to hear your thoughts on that as well. As far as the segment goes, I don't think you can put anything else than 10 out of 10. This was years in the making. Cena finally going heel after all this time and doing it in such an epic fashion. And this is what the ride and the fandom of being a wrestling fan, during this time is all about.
Yeah, I think it's great to hear you say that you agree with this, because it really is that big. In terms of like my understanding, it is absolutely monstrous. Like, this is astronomical. This sort of segment here. And yeah, to see Cena do it is I'm not going to get used to this for some time now. And this, I think, just the way I'm sort of like describing it here, just really does like showcase my true emotions too, because it is wild, absolutely wild. But I gave this one a 9.5 out of 10. Not quite a 10, purely just because of the Travis Scott stuff. I just would have liked to have seen him away from this because I don't think he really fit in this particular moment. But no, in terms of you know, the question that you asked a couple of moments ago regarding the main event of WrestleMania for night 2, yeah, I think when it comes to the night 2 main event, that is majoritarily the main event of WrestleMania, right? Obviously, there are two. You got night 1's main event as well. I'm not taking anything away from that one. But I think the night 2 main event is the one that's at the very end of the weekend. So it's obviously the bigger match, bigger moment, whatever you want to say. So it is sort of like the grand main event sort of thing, if you want to put it that way. I would personally say that it has to be, whatever iteration of this match that we're going to get, whether it's Cody and Cena, whether it's maybe somebody else involved as well, maybe like you said, CM Punk getting involved in this one via that favor. Who knows? But yeah, I think this one has to be the main event as opposed to Jay and Gunter, for example. I just think this match is the marquee matchup. It is the biggest one across the weekend. It's going to be tough to top this one, isn't it? A heel turn from John Cena in 2025, building into WrestleMania. It doesn't get much bigger than this, I'm afraid. So we'll see what WrestleMania build brings. Obviously, times can change, but I feel like it's going to be very, very tough to top this, right? But hey, guys, that is pretty much our that is pretty much our Elimination Chamber reactions video done here for today, our podcast. Before we do close this one out, Nick, do you have any last things to say? Any last thoughts regarding the event? Because if not, we'll close this one away.
Yeah, I just for the record, I do agree. I think no matter what you end up doing to the Cody Cena match, I think that one does deserve the night 2 main event. And hey, we haven't even gotten into the women's side of it. Obviously we have Charlotte and Tiffany, and then now we have Bianca and Rhea. Those are no matches to ignore either. And with Bianca, if Jade comes into the picture at all, and or Io, that could certainly be challenging match as well to try to put in there. But I think no matter what you do, I don't think you can come up with anything bigger than what currently is Cena versus Rhodes. So like I said, I feel like I'm hitting this maybe a little too much, but the Mania picture becoming much more clear now, which is great. We want that. And and I feel like I'm always that person, trusting the process. And now that Papa H is in charge, trust in him and trust in what the ride he's going to take us on, and it has paid off, and now it feels like we are in the full swing of Mania season. So with that, I feel like in terms of what this overall provided is you can't really bat an eye at it. It was incredible from start to finish. In terms of matches, maybe not, perfect by any means, but in terms of everything else and the story that was told, it feels like you have to give this 10 out of 10 just because of, Jade returning, Randy Orton returning, and The Rock coming back to deliver the first in 22 years, first ever really, we purists will say, first ever real heel turn from John Cena. You can't beat that, right? But yeah, this is incredible, and I can't wait to see what unfolds this week and in the upcoming month and a half leading up to Mania.
Thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate those last few words there. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, let's build towards WrestleMania now, guys. That's literally the next stop. We're on the road now. I say we're on the road already, but we're on the final sort of the final line towards it. So this is going to be great. A lot of build coming up soon. I wasn't necessarily looking forward towards WrestleMania until Elimination Chamber took place, but now that that's come and gone, I'm a little bit more hyped, I'm a little bit more keen, and I'm a little bit more ready to get involved in that situation. So how about we look forward to whatever comes on our way? The ride is about to begin, and let's see what takes place. But Elimination Chamber, cracking show, absolutely brilliant. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 in the end, just because of the the women's tag team championship, the women's tag team match being there, and I don't know, it just didn't really fit as well as the rest did. And then like the little nitty picks throughout the remainder of the matches, just being a little bit too picky there. But yeah, I think it all adds to the rating. But 8.5 out of 10 is still a very, great show, tremendous, iconic, historical, memorable, all of those accolades all into one. It was brilliant. But thank you very much, guys, for tuning on in to the Push with Nick and KP. If you like this one, then please hit a like on the video and please subscribe to the channel. Also, let us know what you think in the comments, whether you agree, disagree with whatever we've said here today, and let us know your general thoughts about what you thought about Elimination Chamber. We will be back with another podcast coming up very, very soon with our Raw recap. That'll be the first Raw after Elimination Chamber, come up in a couple of days' time for the podcast. So yeah, we'll see you all in the next one. And thank you very much, guys, for tuning into The Push with Nick and KP, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers, everyone, and goodbye.